Casey Anthony must be stopped. For those of you all who are lucky enough to have not seen by now, Casey Anthony just joined TikTok. And now she wants to be a social media influencer / content creator. And I'm telling you guys right now, folks, we need to go ahead and nip this in the bud before it goes any further. Because I've already seen this playbook before. It's like a movie that you've seen 1,000 times. You know the next scene, and I already know where this is going. First, it starts off with a couple of TikTok videos. Next thing you know, there's a new book deal. Next thing you know, there's a new reality show deal, a new documentary, a new Lifetime movie. And before you know it, Casey Anthony will be on Dancing with the Stars or The Masked Singer or some weird like that, folks. That's where this is headed. 100%. And look, I don't hate on anyone for being successful or getting opportunities. In fact, I'm the exact opposite. But I do have an issue when people become rich and famous from horrible things that they've done. And this is a recent trend in our society where people who are accused of killing people who we know for a fact killed people, like they literally get out of jail and they become social media stars and celebrities. It's weird. We cannot keep allowing this. What type of message does this send to people? Does this embolden like the crazies out there? I mean, who's to say there's not a woman out there that's watching this like, hey, maybe I could do this to my daughter too. And one day I'll be on TikTok with 1 million followers and I'll get my own reality show. This is the message that we are sending out there. And yeah, sure, me and you can look at it and be disgusted by it, but other people look at this and they see opportunity. And we should not be willingly giving fortune and fame and opportunity to people who have done horrible things that are only known because of the horrible things that they're accused of or the horrible things that they've done.
Right. Appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony.
I mean, this woman had the audacity to sit down and record herself talking about she's going to be an advocate for her daughter. What? Do you know the amount of audacity you have to be filled with? The amount of just no F's given? Doesn't care at all? I mean, you could look at her in this video and you can tell that this what happened to her daughter, it's not something that has weighed heavily on her. Casey Anthony doesn't look like a woman who has been stressing out and going through a lot of sorrow and grief. You know, when you do something like what Casey Anthony is accused of doing, or hey, let's say Casey Anthony is innocent. When something horrible like this happens to your child, that weighs heavy on you for life. It's stressful, right? And you can see that stress on people's faces. You can see the hurt and the pain in people's eyes, okay? But look at Casey Anthony. This is not a woman that, has been bearing and just withholding this grief and sorrow for years. This is not a woman that's been struggling for what she may have done, what she may have done to her daughter. This is not a woman who's been struggling and stressing out for years over what happened to her daughter. This is a woman that does not care about any of that. And you could see it on her face because the stress has not weighed in on her face in the way that it should have by now. So this is a complete narcissist. And much worse than that, I mean, to think that you of all people, that we need your voice out here on social media, that people need to come to you for legal advice, and to really just sit there and look at your camera I mean, and literally say it. How full of crap do you have to be? Because Casey Anthony knows what went down, and we all know what went down. Okay? There's not really much debate about it. We all know what happened here. And Casey Anthony knows better than anyone. Yet she's still narcissistic enough, psychotic enough, if you want to call it that, to sit down in front of a camera and pretend like she's going to be an advocate for her daughter and herself, and that she has, something to offer the world. She says that, she's a researcher. But hey, we got to be fair. I do give credit where credit is due. Casey Anthony is a researcher. Remember back during the trial, remember it was revealed what she was researching? She did a lot of research on chloroform and how to unalive people. Yeah, I do remember Casey Anthony. She is a researcher for sure. So a lot of people are going to be ragging on her. A lot of people are going to say negative things about her, including myself. But we got to give her credit. We cannot take that away from her. Casey Anthony is a researcher. That was proven already because we know she was, researching chloroform and all types of other things, when her daughter was missing or in her trunk. But anyways.
Still going to keep my privacy intact, so you will get very comfortable with my car. And I will explain in great detail why it's so important for people to protect their privacy. It's not just important to public figures, it's even more important to private individuals. And with the current climate in our country especially, it's that much more important, which is why I am utilizing the Substack platform. Yes, I am advertising this and publishing this on TikTok, possibly also through.
I feel like her entire first video was kind of a sequence of her saying just the most ridiculous, audacious stuff possible, but she doesn't really realize it, or maybe she does. I don't know. Does she have any self-awareness at all? Because it all starts with her saying, "Oh, I'm going to be a legal advocate," and it's just like, yeah, no. And then you're saying you're going to advocate for your daughter. How about no? You know what I mean? And then it goes to the privacy part, which is almost just as ridiculous as everything else we've already heard her say. Because what is this, the worldwide privacy tour of Casey Anthony? I am so sick and tired of people going on social media and complaining about their privacy. If privacy was this important and you needed to teach people about privacy, why are you on TikTok? People will complain that they don't have privacy and then they will blast all of their personal information on social media. So, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. But we see a lot of this lately too. These worldwide privacy tours. Why do so many people do this these days? It's like people are desperate for attention, but at the same time, they want to pretend that they want the opposite. And I'm telling you right now, you could look at Casey Anthony, you could hear everything she's saying, but at the end of the day, we know what she wants. She wants to turn what happened to her daughter into a unlimited money printing machine. That's what this is about. It's not about being an advocate for this. It's not about helping people with that. It's not about teaching people about privacy for damn sure. No, you want to turn what happened to your daughter into an unlimited money machine that just spits out money at you every day. And unfortunately, I know right now, even though I want this to stop, I know that this is going to work. Because I know how people are, and I know that people are going to eat this up.
And when necessary, people needed to step up, myself included. So, as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me.
Now, personally, I think the most hilarious part about all of this is that she's a loony liberal. And I mean, that was already so predictable. It's almost a little too on the nose. But this woman is on her Substack, literally crying and complaining and defending DEI. So she has all of this compassion in her heart for DEI hires because of her political ideology. She has more compassion for DEI hires than she did her 2-year-old daughter. And even in the video, you all have heard it, she talks about how she's a proponent for the LGBTQ community. So it's like, okay, so you're more sympathetic towards the LGBT community than you are your 2-year-old daughter. You have all of this care and compassion for these liberal talking points, basically. Right? You have all of this care and compassion for these things, but you don't have care and compassion for kids. You didn't have care or compassion for what happened to your 2-year-old child. Oh, but you're an advocate for the LGBTQIA plus 2XSL community, right? You'll scream at the top of your lungs and defend them, but you didn't defend your child. In fact, you did the exact opposite. So it's kind of typical with these kinds of people. And I just thought it was kind of hilarious that in the process of her trying to make this rebrand and be a content creator or whatever the hell she's trying to be, she's already like showing her political ideology. And it's the typical nonsense that she would expect from someone like Casey Anthony. And look, I'm not saying that you shouldn't advocate for this or be a voice for that, but when you have this care and compassion and feel like you could be a voice to defend one community when you couldn't defend your daughter, I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, I find that disgusting. I find it absolutely disgusting that you have more care and compassion for these groups of people because of your political ideology. You have so much care and compassion for them, but you don't have that same love in your heart for your own child. So yeah, it's just, it's all to be expected though in today's world. And, you know, it's just disappointing knowing that I'm going to put out this video and, you know, nothing's really going to be done. Within the next couple of days, Casey Anthony is going to skyrocket. She's already trending #1 on X all day, ever since like 4 o'clock yesterday morning. So just go ahead and get ready because you're going to be seeing a lot of this woman most likely in the near future. But for now, let me know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.